I'm Alli. I came out after 20 years of marriage, and I have 3 kids.
I'm Melisa, and I have 2 kids, and I came out at 37 after an 11-year marriage.
This podcast is about coming out later and the struggles and victories that come with it.
When coming out feels like the end of the world, but it's really just the beginning.
This is the Lesbian Chronicles.
Welcome to the Lesbian Chronicles.
Here we are. Can you believe we're live? I've missed you.
I have missed you as well. And
Yep.
I've missed our quality audio.
I know, right? Sometimes I listen and I will say, like, I'm going to apologize to people because it does kind of fade in and out a little when we're not together. I don't know why.
I think it's just
Wi-Fi.
being on Zoom. And then on top of that, I'm using like my laptop microphone. But I did just order like a cord that'll connect into my laptop. So we're going to see how that works and see if that allows for a little bit better audio when we're over Zoom.
Or we could just really get together every time.
I mean, you know, it's just so easy to get here.
I know, it's so easy.
Even coming from Midtown to Decatur, it takes 30 minutes.
I know, it
sucks. Stupid.
I know. Decatur, they don't want anyone here. And like, I don't know how else
feel
to
like
say it.
Traffic has gotten so much worse.
Right.
I guess because it's summer. Maybe that's it.
Yeah.
But on top of that, the fact that it is summer, it's like my schedule's fucking packed. I'm like, I love having the kids home, but at the same time, I'm like, go back to school, please, so that we can be like normal and not have like swim lessons every day and golf camp and all
Kids
this
over.
other shit.
Our kids are into like every free night. They have to have a sleepover, Like there were 4 kids at our house last night, staying the night.
Oh my God.
Yeah, have to.
Where do you have them all sleep?
They pile in like puppies. I mean,
Puppies.
They literally, and then it's like they're in our room, then they're asking us for stuff, then they're, it's a whole thing.
God,
so,
I don't know how you do that.
And that's why I had to get an office, because I felt like I was home working, and like Maria and the whole crew would start to like resent me that I'm like in my office working. But the truth is, Maria will come in and be like, "Are you going to help me?" Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I am working. Like, pretend I'm at an office.
Right.
So finally, I'm like, I literally can't.
That
stay
is
home.
true, like the work from home thing, because sometimes it's like you hear the chaos that's happening.
And I feel bad.
And yeah, you've got to like go do something about it.
I'll tell you the most disgusting thing this is what kind of ensued her. Are you going to help me? This is like one of the worst things that's ever happened to us. So, Maria's...
Do we need a graphic warning?
Graphic warning. Trigger warning, graphic warning. So we get home from our trip. And so we've been gone. We've had a dog sitter there, and we compost. And like Maria is like a lunatic about the composting. Love her, but that is like her thing. Like if you throw
She's
a cracker,
very much a recycler. I know that. Like
if you throw
I've seen
cracker,
her take like toilet paper rolls out of the garbage,
she does.
Put them in the recycling.
She takes food out of the garbage and put it in composting.
Oh my God.
So the dog guy must have put like meat or something. I don't know what happened, but anyway, I go out to the compost to throw something in there, and no lie, I'm talking thousands of maggots. Worms, the little white come out. I literally dropped the thing. I ran inside. I'm like freaking out. I thought I had one on my finger. I'm like dying. And that is like, I am not okay. Like I was literally not okay. So I see them like now they're crawling out of the composting bucket onto right outside the house, but outside the kitchen door. Like they're here. They're
coming in the house.
They're coming in. So I shut the door and I'm like screaming, and she's like, "You are way overreacting." I'm like, I'm not. Like, come out. Believe me. So believe women. Believe women. We get out there and she's like, "Oh yeah, okay, yeah, it's kind of a problem." So she's like dousing them with bug
gasoline.
Spray. They're not dying.
Oh
okay, and
God.
I can't come out to help. I'm looking at her through the glass, but I can see them swimming in the like stuff. She's like dousing them. So she's like yelling through the glass, like, "Look up how to kill them. Like, how do you kill them? I guess you kill them with bleach." So then she's like bleaching our steps and like all around there, bleaching the rug, bleaching everything. But she's by herself out there with the hose, like doing it. And it's like forever because there's thousands of them. And I'm not helping. I'm sorry. Like, I don't know who you call. I don't know whether you call animal control.
I don't know who you call in this situation.
Who
you have to call someone?
I think you call
Google.
your exterminator.
I mean, are they infesting, like...
They're not inside at this point. So she basically is just like, get out of the way. But she's annoyed as hell because she's having to do this horrible thing. The kids are running around. I'm zero help, and I know I'm
she's
not.
the man one.
But I'm also working. So it's like this took probably an hour.
Yeah.
to take care of it. Ugh. But it's like, that's the kind of shit that if I'm at an office, I don't even know that
then
went
you
down.
don't even know what happened.
I don't even know that went down.
Oh my God. Ignorance is bliss.
Ignorance is so bliss. Have you ever had maggots?
I have on 2 different occasions.
Shit.
One time was with dog food. And somehow the dog food containers that we had gotten a hole poked in them.
Are they like the wet dog food?
It was like the plastic wet dog food.
Why does anyone do wet dog food? It's so gross.
Because my dog needed it, basically. And so I kept noticing flies in our pantry, and I was like, this is really weird. And my younger brother had been staying at our house like the week prior while we were out of town. This was like way back when we were married. And I'm like blaming him on the fact that there's so many flies in my house. And then I realized they're coming from the pantry, all this stuff. I opened one of these dog food containers and I screamed.
That's me.
And I threw it in the sink and I was like, that's it. I'm setting the house on fire.
Yes.
And my nephew, who was like around 8 at the time, he's in the living room. He's like, the house is on fire. What? And I'm like, no. Like,
it's like your reaction is like, oh, it's the most vile thing I've
it's
ever
awful.
seen.
I also had them in my garbage can recently, and what I did though is I poured like a shit ton of
bleach.
Some sort of cleaner. I think it might have been like Clorox something, and then also like Dawn dish soap, like just a shit ton of it.
I did read that.
And then I filled it up with water. And then I just left it there for the garbage
Did it
man
work?
to come pick up.
I'm sure they
For all I know, they were rained with maggots when they dumped my garbage in the thing.
It's like, it's so vile.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
It's disgusting.
Who knew that we were going to talk about maggots today?
I know, and like I literally, that just happened, so it's like fresh on my trauma. It's fresh trauma.
Yeah, it's fresh trauma. We might need Dr. Jamie in here to discuss this.
And when she came in, I felt how annoyed she was, so I was just like, thank you so much for getting the maggots.
Thank you for getting the maggots, sweetie. Oh my God. You're lucky you still have a wife.
I know, it's
God.
Outlook not good.
No.
Anyway, so yeah, that just happened, but that's why I have to go to the office.
Well, I'm glad to not have to go to an office. I should be careful with what I say because like a lot of people have gone back into work.
Yeah.
I have not. I'm still able to work from home.
Yeah.
So I love it. I wouldn't change it.
That's good.
So
I wonder if that'll, like, I worked from home for a long time. I still do sometimes, but I don't know. I prefer if I can get in.
I think in like 10 years when the kids are out of school, I will want to be back in an office or at least have that flexibility. But right now it's just so much easier because like I can do laundry.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Like keep up with stuff around the house.
Yeah. No, I think it's true.
I've been given the gift of time.
Right.
As well, that I don't have to drive an hour each way to go to work.
Right.
So,
but it is hard to like stay on task. Like I'll look over, like Maria will be working, but then it's like she's not. Then to your point, it's like hard to stay on it when you're in your house.
It is. But you also don't have like rando coworkers coming by to talk and stuff like that.
That's true.
And I don't go on like 20-minute walks around the building like I used to.
No. I just read this really interesting article about like these cities like Chicago, like lots of big cities, that these high rises are becoming like shells of no one's there because people are all working from home. And like, how are we going to reinvent, repurpose these cities so that, the restaurants, the town, the commuters, there's such life around, a working city. And that now they're just shells of no one's there.
Yeah.
And there's something like really interesting about that. If somebody could come up with a really good idea, I think that's going to be a wave of opportunity for someone.
Housing for the homeless.
Maybe. Yeah.
In some way. I don't know. It's a slippery slope.
I know, right? I don't know. It does seem like maybe some of those camps, they could move there. But I know there's a whole thing with violence when you put people, I don't know. It's so layered. It's a slippery slope.
It'd be nice if it was like a magical like beauty pageant answer.
I know, right?
Like, I was thinking
maybe like a live work scenario where they could like maybe maybe it could be like a WeWork, but it's like then have condos upstairs, offices down. So there is a little separation.
Because then it's like, that's kind of similar. Like they're just outside of Peachtree City, there's a community called Trilith, which is like super nice.
Okay.
And it's basically built right by Pinewood Studios.
Yeah. I think I've heard of this.
Yeah. The movie studio.
Yeah.
And I had a friend who works in the industry and I was like, oh man, those places look awesome. Are you going to move over there? He's like, no way. He's like, that just means I'm in their backyard and they can call me and be like, get over here to work. Like, we need you.
Yeah, that's true.
And I was like, that's a really good point.
Yeah.
Like, you don't necessarily want to be like immersed in your workspace 24/7.
Right.
And then he's like, and then I'm going to the restaurants and like all these people that I work with are there.
Yeah.
He's like, I want the like separation.
Yeah,
there.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I could see that. It's kind of similar though to working from home. It just allows you to have some, you're not in your house, but you're like just running, down to the first floor or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. They're probably not going to do that, but that was just an idea I thought of.
We're talking about all things gay
I know.
today.
All things gay. Okay, we better get to it.
Well, we wanted to talk a little bit. We just had our past 2 episodes with the women from Mormon No More,
right?
Which is a show on Hulu about leaving Mormonism, and then on top of that, coming out of the closet, which is just like, I don't think my brain can even wrap my head around how difficult that whole thing is, like the whole undoing.
Yeah. I enjoyed that episode so much, talking to them.
They're awesome.
Yeah.
And it was really cool too that they've like listened to the podcast. Like, I had no idea. So
who knew?
Lena was actually in on one of our, remember when we did the Zoom? Like,
I sort of, when you said that, I looked back if anyone was on that Zoom. Was she, because there was a girl from California who had like a fedora on.
Oh man, you've got a better memory than I do.
I sort of remember her, if that's who it was, but
yeah.
I don't remember.
Well, we didn't record it. It was just a private thing.
There was like maybe 10 people on it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I was in my old house.
I was going to say, it was in the height of us being like locked inside and
Yes.
truly like not knowing what the fuck was happening.
Right.
So,
but I thought I was left like with, even because I hadn't watched the show yet. Now I've watched one episode. I really enjoyed it. Highly recommend it. But I was left with like so many more questions.
yeah. Did it make you cry at all yet? Did you feel any like emotions there from...
I didn't cry per se, but I felt a lot of empathy for the husbands. Like, I remember the pain around breaking the heart of this person that was my best friend, who built his entire life around me and around these children. And I remember the pain that I saw in that man's face, in my ex-husband's face. Mm-hmm. And that brought back for me just that was the worst part. Like, to me, it's like, it wasn't even about, yes, I was scared. Yes, it was horrible. But like leaving that behind and being so sad for what I was doing to him, that all came flooding back when I looked at both men's faces. They both reacted differently, but the pain is there for both of them.
Yeah, I think that's the interesting part of that show, is that you do have these 2 different perspectives of like, the one husband is like, let's do this together, let's be a family and we're good. And the other one is really having a hard time kind of regrouping and figuring out like where to fit in and like what his relationship is like with her now.
Right.
And I think, we've had these experiences where ours are more so wanting to be a family. And there's so many people out there that's not happening. These men they're hurt and they're not going to get over it in just 3 seconds and be like, yeah, let's rally and let's do this.
One thing that I thought, like, immediately when I saw both of them is that, like, I know, like, I've read a lot of books on just child psychology and things about, like, raising kids. And happy adults are adults that are very resilient. And they say, like, resilience in a human being is, like, the number one indicator of how happy they're going to be, is how resilient they are. We're all going to have some tough breaks. And if you can be resilient, your life is generally pretty happy. And it made me so curious around, because I feel like we both married men that had very healthy, I think I know this about Tom, but pretty healthy upbringings. Like, my ex had 2 parents that adored him. He had a great education. He had so much love. I feel like Tom had that too.
Yeah.
And I just wonder, like, out of those guys, did one have I would be so curious around their upbringings, because it does seem like Lena's husband was so much more. He is sad. He had sadness written all over his face, but he's resilient.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
In a way that I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah. And that's definitely like the case. Like, when in the conversations that I was having with Tom, he was definitely sad. And it was very much of like, what do we do here?
Yeah.
And we really tried to do different avenues. It wasn't like, when people ask how I came out to him, it's like, it was so gradual. It's not like I just sat down and was like declared that I was gay.
Yeah.
And I think that made it easier for me because he was part of the conversation and like, We were trying to figure out like what the best plan was.
Right.
So, but even so, those conversations that we were having as it became apparent that we needed to separate, like I will never forget, the look on his face, when we were talking, like when it was real to him that this is what was going to happen.
Yeah.
And just the uncertainty that lied ahead for him, and for me, like what is this going to look like?
Right.
And who am I going to be with? Who are you going to be with?
And you're clawing for your own security. You're clawing for financial security. You're clawing for time with your kids. So it's also, you're just in this really conflicted situation of I'm scared of what's going to turn out for me because this is the other person who gets half of everything, time with our children, who's going to make the decisions. Mm-hmm. But it's also like, I still need you.
Yeah.
Like I still love you and need you.
Right.
So it is like this really conflicted position. You see why people end up warring.
Yeah. Let's take a quick break, and then I want to talk more about like the need of your ex-husband.
Sounds good.
Okay. The need for your ex-husband, like even though we're not together anymore, it's like you still need him for certain things. And it kind of feels, I don't even like using the word need,
Right.
But that's the best thing I can think of right now.
Yeah.
Like there's just certain things where it's like, oh, like this has come up and like I kind of need your help with this.
Yeah, for sure.
But that over time, that has changed,
Right.
like I don't know if you're seeing this at all with Chris since he's now in a relationship. But I guess you've had like a little bit more padding,
Yeah,
like
I think I have. I think you're right about that.
So it's like kind of you've gotten to a space where it's not so sudden that he's
in a relationship. And yeah.
Then do you feel like that's made it like easier?
It's made it easier in that I'm not worried about him like having plans on a Saturday night or, I think he's doing fun things, which I want for him. He goes to see bands with his girlfriend. They might go on a trip. Like I'm happy for him in that regard. But I don't know. I don't know yet if he's completely... I don't know. I don't know if he's not over completely our scenario. And I don't know that you're ever over it, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, so I think he hasn't fully embraced his new setup yet.
Yeah.
And I think in a way that maybe your ex has.
Yeah.
In many ways. I don't know. What would you say about that?
I think, initially it took, and someone sent us a message about this, that on one of our past episodes, that like the way that I was talking about how Tom moved on really quickly, like she could sense it in my voice that it hurt me.
Yeah.
And it did.
Right.
And it's something that like I've had to like talk to my therapist about and stuff, because I think in a lot of ways I felt like I didn't have a right to be sad.
Yeah. You did this.
Yeah. Like I chose this. This is what you wanted.
Right.
And now he's moved on, and he moved on a lot quicker than I thought I was.
Yeah.
Or that I thought he would. And like it made me feel like easily replaced.
Right.
Right. Or like that our relationship didn't carry that much weight to him.
Right.
All these things.
Or that just, what if I need him and now I can't get to him?
Yeah. Like what about like I've become less of a priority.
Right.
And that didn't like happen like instantly, like I've been through like a couple different moves, and he's helped me like at those times. Like when I moved out of the studio in Midtown and into the condo that I bought, he was the one that helped me move in there.
Right.
And we'd been divorced at that point for like 7-8 months, something
like that.
And he had a girlfriend.
Right.
But yeah, he took the day to like help me move.
Right.
And now I'm moving again. And I'm like, I'm not even going to ask, because I'm pretty sure the answer is no.
Does she say, like, my ex has told me, I hope she's not listening, but that his girlfriend has like indicated like sort of annoying things about, like, I think one time he was hanging up and just naturally was like, all right, love you guys, or love you to us. Mm-hmm. And I guess later he's like, it caused such a nightmare of a situation at my house.
Oh, wow.
So I think she, too, like he has to kind of walk a narrow line.
Right.
Maybe.
Yeah. I definitely think that there's, like this balance of him, like now trying to make this other person a priority.
Right.
And keeping our kids a priority. But then like I've been bumped down the totem pole.
Yeah.
Right.
And I feel like your personality too, like it's not as, like I could see where I'm annoying. Because like if I show up at their place with the kids, I come in big, I'm bringing stuff, I'm louder than you. So I could see where like I sometimes like have to like put myself in her shoes. And even Maria will say like, settle in. Like you don't need to come in like a fucking hurricane with, because I am excited. I'm excited about everything. I'm excited about his place. I'm excited about new furniture I noticed that they bought.
Mm-hmm. So he lives with her now?
He does.
Yeah.
So I guess too, like that is probably annoying for her of just like, I get really pumped easily. And, I don't know if it's annoying or if it's more just like, okay, here comes the Alli show.
Here comes the Alli show.
And the kids are excitable. So it's just like, we're all annoying.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
But, you know, it is what it is.
But you're not just dropping them off at the door and being like, see you later. Like you're coming in.
Well, sometimes because like his dad now lives here. So we've had some events for him. He lost his mom a year ago. And so there's been like these anniversaries that we've had parties for. We have 3 kids together. So there's birthdays. There's always situations where we're getting thrown together. In a good way. Like,
well, and it's kind of funny. It's like, how do people even navigate this stuff? Like when they're divorcing and they hate each other.
I know.
Like, what do you do?
Right.
Like,
and it is like in my relationship now, I think you and I talked about this a little bit. Like, I think my partner has some feelings around that relationship. You know, she loves Chris, but there's also times that she's, you know, it's annoying.
she wants to be the priority.
Yeah.
Do you feel like do you do that ever?
I definitely feel like she is 100% the priority. But I think things come up that you can't predict that are like triggers, maybe he'll drop the kids' backpacks off and he walks in to the house and like drops stuff off. He's doing something really nice, but then it's kind of like,
but
dude,
he also just walked in. Yeah.
But the door's open. Everybody just walks in. The neighbors walk in.
Yeah.
So it's just like these gray areas that I'm not even sure what the answer is. I mean, it happened on the show, Mormon No More. If you guys are watching, Sally's ex wanted to meet her and the kids out.
Oh, yeah.
And Lena had some feelings around, like, why am I not going? I'm about to be your wife. Like, it's weird that I'm not coming.
Yeah.
And I see 100% both sides. I truly don't know who's right.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Like, do you have a lean one way or the other? Like, oh, I get it. I don't.
Well, and like, I can see where he's coming from.
Yeah.
Like, he's trying to, still be there and be with the family. And it's like, he wants that nuclear family back,
Right.
And I've felt that more so with like, Tom is my friend.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I don't get anymore. We still get like the family time,
right?
But even not with like, not solo,
right.
Not like we used to be. But we don't do anything like outside of the kids being around.
Because it wouldn't be okay with his partner.
I'm assuming so.
Okay.
I don't really truly know that that's what's happened.
Okay.
But we have a mutual friend who is like my best friend and one of his best friends. And the three of us have not spent any time together outside of like, the three of us have not spent any time together since we separated. Before we separated.
And are you fearful to even initiate it because it's
we
like
tried to initiate it and it just didn't come together.
Okay.
And it's one of those things where it's like me and my best friend tried to make it happen a couple times, and when it hasn't happened, we're just kind of like, there's some obstacle in the way. Did
you ever hear the book? Have you ever heard of the book? He's Just Not That Into You.
Is that what's happening here?
It's like if they reject, like if people want to see you, he probably does, but he has his own reasons.
Yeah,
which we know what they are. But it's like, if you're right, like if you try a couple times and it doesn't work out, if I want to make plans with you, I will find a way to make plans with you.
Right.
So he's probably catching hell on the other side.
Yeah, I mean, that could be it. It could be scheduling. It could be that they, they want to have their own time. All these things. And like he's having to make decisions with her in mind.
Yeah. And
that's fine.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it is kind of like, what's that saying? You can't go home again.
Yeah.
Like that's how it feels.
Right.
Like the three of us having that dynamic that we used to have where we go on trips to the beach and party all day, all those things. It's like, that's just something we can't do anymore.
Yeah, that's so true. Right.
And
could you go out like as couples? Like,
yeah,
to
we
me,
could
maybe
definitely.
that's a little more,
Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah.
And we kind of have.
Maybe try to do that more.
Yeah.
Like, I think that might be a good way.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Because it, like I said, it's just one of those like things that you lose along the way. And when I was going through this, like, I don't think I quite realized that I was going to lose that part too. You know,
Right.
there's just these like surprise losses.
Yeah.
But the thing is, when I came out to my best friend, she started crying and she was like, I just know that everything's going to change.
Yeah.
Like, she wasn't sad that I was gay or the divorce. She's like, you have to do that, but I'm just sad that it's going to change. And I remember thinking like, no.
Yeah.
Everything's fine.
Yeah.
But
It all
she's
changes. Right.
You know?
All my friendships are different now. Some better, some worse. Mm-hmm. Some gone. Not because I'm gay, but just because the space that I had for that life is now full of other things.
Well, and it's kind of interesting too, because with Lena and Sally, it's like they've had those conversations blatantly expressed to them that people don't want to be in their lives anymore.
Yeah.
You know, and like we haven't had that.
None.
Like people just kind of like trickle off,
right?
You know, that are no longer part of our lives. But it's like part of like when you're leaving the Mormon religion, it's like they have this thing where it's like we got to be like, and this is why we're not speaking anymore.
Right.
I don't support your lifestyle and all this stuff. And I feel like that's so much more hurtful.
I agree. Or is it? Or is it just kind of like,
I guess you get your answers.
Okay, yeah, you got your answer. And I don't really want, if that's how you feel, like to me, it's like such a good weed out.
Yeah.
Because time is precious. It's our most precious commodity. So to me, it's like if I don't have to spend my time, which is
worrying and trying to make plans,
or like make plans, and you're
seeing
not,
if you're catching a hint that this isn't going to work anymore.
Like I would rather just save that commodity for people that I prize and that prize me.
Yeah,
and prize my family, my new family.
Yeah,
you know,
I mean it's true,
right?
And I see that kind of expressed a lot on social media, like the shitty people will weed themselves out.
Yeah, they do.
And it's 100% true, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't hurt when they do.
No, it still is like a wow, I didn't see that coming. But I think if you just change your perspective. Now, as your partner, has anything come up where you've felt like she's been triggered by something that you're having to do with Tom, or like he's needs something from you or you need something from him? Has that been a trigger for your relationship? No, not yet.
She's in here somewhere.
Yeah.
No, it really hasn't, because like everything that we're doing, I invite her along.
Right.
And like even 4th of July, we went over to Tom's dad's house, and like she's welcome to come, and like she's invited, and like Tom really does a good job of like holding that space, and so does his girlfriend, of like creating the welcoming environment to say like Marina is of course welcome, like, are you guys coming, like all that stuff. Like he knows already that that's just like part of the deal. Yeah. Which I think that's so helpful. And I think too, like sometimes at the beginning of the relationship, like I felt like ours was that way. Like I remember when my partner met my ex-husband, she like threw her arms around him and was like, this is fantastic. You know, it was so great. It took a few years, to be honest, before it started to be, it's not a problem, but it's like things come up now that I would think would be ancient history that trigger her or that cause stress for our relationship. Yeah. And I can see that being, you know, like with Marina and I, there's been a few years where I've had to figure out shit on my own. Yeah. You know, like I know that I can't really, I mean, I still call him sometimes to like hang shit up. You know, you can kill the maggots. Yeah. I know I can kill the fucking maggots, but can I hang a picture on the wall? Right. No. Right. Like that's the instance where I'm calling him. Actually, when we met, I think I asked you like 3 different occasions if you could hang a picture. It's like, and if you have to ask, because I'm like, I really need to find someone who can help me with this shit, because I can't do it, you know. But I've had the time to kind of separate myself in that way. And meanwhile, you've been going through that process of separating from him with Maria right there. Yeah, I guess that's true. Like, right, like it was so soon. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's just like I think didn't, you know, there are things that you don't think about. Like I remember when we first got together, I said to her, like, my family's been so amazing that if we're going to get serious, I'm just telling you now, like for the next holidays for a year,
I'm with my family. Like I'm with my mom and dad. I want to be with my sister. I'm not trying to like have this new family that I'm like, I don't want that responsibility yet. I mean, I just said it just like that. And then it was like 2 years went by, and I think she thought it would be more just us now. And it's still, you know, Christmas Day, we both want to be with the kids.
Yeah.
And I don't think she doesn't care necessarily, but it does create some issues or even anything. I mean, these things come up all the time. You know, we went to visit my parents. My parents ask about Chris. And that's a little bit uncomfortable for me.
Yeah.
Like it's not just easy yet.
Yeah.
And I don't know that maybe it never will be, or maybe it just with time does get easier and easier, but it's definitely been a thing. Like my divorce looks different than her divorce did.
And
So,
I think it's smart too. Like that's actually like kind of a good tip for people. Like if you're, you know, freshly in a relationship and you're trying to like blend holidays right away,
Yeah.
like just chill for a year. Like
yeah.
they don't have to be there for every little holiday.
No.
Like in the, you know, Christmas morning, Thanksgiving, all that stuff. It's like, give it a year.
Right.
You know?
And I think you have to like honor the fact that you're going to suffer a little bit. Like to me, it's also nice. Like that first Christmas, I didn't have Maria, but it was nice to like just be with my family because I could be sad. I'm sad.
Were you single that first Christmas?
I was not technically single, but I was in my volatile catalyst scenario.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, so it's
That
like
was
Christmas.
that was the
nightmare.
The Christmas Eve that I got 26 text messages.
Yes,
in
I
10
think we
minutes.
talked.
Yeah.
Because you were like wrapping presents somewhere, and it was
I got
so
yelled
stressful.
at for wrapping
yeah,
presents.
and it's just like I don't want to have to fake it in front of like I just want to sit there with my mom and dad.
Yeah,
and,
like I just wanted to enjoy that
Yeah.
morning, and I think I even like put my phone away that morning, where I was just like, I'm not doing this.
yeah, I can't.
Like I want to just chill with my family,
Right.
and breathe.
Yeah.
So
Totally. And I remember like that specific Christmas, I think I've said this before, but I remember my mom like was also very sad, and she like looked at me, and instead of being like, you're going to be fine. I'm in my new place. Like I had a lot to kind of be excited about. But I remember the way she said, you're going to be okay, was like a question, like you're going to be okay. Kind of like with a little bit of like a cliffhanger. Like, and I remember my sister like looking at my
Let's see
mom
how
like,
this show
Mom,
turns
what?
out."
Of course she's going to be okay. I mean, my sister's like, look at her. Like
Yeah.
we're great. And my mom's just like, yeah, no, I know. But it was like, Mom, nobody believes this
know.
bullshit
Like,
anymore.
moms,
Like, you're
like-
worried as shit about me.
Yeah.
I'm worried as hell.
yeah,
So I don't need you to be worried. I need you to just tell me all the reasons I don't need to be worried.
exactly.
So I think I learned
Exactly.
that too.
Like, why
yeah.
can't, like, that's just it. It's like, to have your mom be like, you're going to be okay. Like, I don't think my mom ever said that. My mom's
said
more
it
like,
like-
are you sure you want to leave?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
That was at first. But then when she got there and I'm all set up, I've got like new dishware, she just was like, are you going to be okay?
yeah.
Like in this like really sad way that then like I'm bawling and thinking, I don't know. I won't be.
yeah.
Like, is that okay if I'm not?
Right.
You know?
And it's my mom, I call her a lot of the time every Thursday, and I'm
Yeah.
like, you know, the kids are with Tom. What?
Why? That's what mine does.
And I'm like, it's been 5 years. Like, how have we not picked
Mine
up
does the
on the
same
fact that they're
thing.
with him?
Mine does the same
Where are
thing.
the kids?
Yeah.
though? And I'm
I
like,
always try to call
I lost them. I don't know.
Where are they? I always try to call my parents when I have them.
Yeah, right. Because there's
It's
less
like a
guilt.
buffer, there's less guilt. Whenever I don't have them, it's like I'm justifying why I don't have them. We're getting them back.
Right.
I mean, it's just
I
like,
didn't
get outta
fucking drop
here.
them off on the side of the road and forget about them. Like, they're with their
Where
dad.
are they? Or they'll like slyly insinuate that he has them more than me.
Right.
And I do have them the most.
Yes.
So I'm
I know. I'm
constantly
like, do you need
wait,
a fucking calendar?
I know.
Like,
I've had
with the days
them.
marked off? Like,
Really? Because God, it seems like they've been there.
Oh, I'm like dreading, like, they're going to be out of town for a week with
Oh, God.
him. I'm dreading talking to her about
Yeah.
a week.
A week.
And I'm like, yes, that is what is in our divorce decree and our child custody agreement.
Exactly. Oh my God.
And I'm even going out there for a portion of their trip. Like, I'm going to see them
Yeah.
on the fucking trip.
It's never.
And don't even
enough.
get me started. Marina and I are going to Croatia for 10 days.
Oh my God, they're gonna have
I
a-
haven't even told my mom.
She's gonna die.
It's in August.
You need to tell her you're taking the kids.
I'm literally going to call her like the day before and be like, so I'm going to Croatia. Bye.
Bye. See you later. Exactly. That is hilarious. I know. What is the and the thing that's really funny is while we were just there, I was looking at these postcards. I told Maria, my parents left us all the fucking time. Like I was left with this lady.
Oh, my mom
who
never
babysat.
left us.
Oh, we got left for 10 days, 12 days. My parents traveled all the time. We got left. And there's postcards like that we found, these vintage postcards
that
my
they
mom
sent
wrote.
to you on their trip?
Yes, my kids are pulling them out. It's like, dear girls, Dad and I are having a wonderful time in wherever they are. So finally, I'm like, what the hell, Mom? Like, you don't get to give me 1 ounce of shit. You left me with an 80-year-old woman.
Oh, my gosh.
For weeks on end.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I love my parents, but she has zero room
I mean, my
to
mom
judge.
literally never left me.
Never left.
But, well, I say that, but like my older sister did do a lot of raising of the kids. So
right.
It's just pushed off on the older siblings.
Right.
That's
It's
like the
enough.
Mormons. That's why they have so many kids. They just keep saying, hey,
You do it now.
you
do it
change
now.
the diapers.
Exactly. Exactly. I don't know what to say about these people, but
I think that's a good spot to wrap.
I agree. Well, have a great rest of your weekend.
Me or the listeners?
The listeners. And you. And you. Thanks. All right.
Bye, guys. Want to support the Lesbian Chronicles podcast? Rate us and write a review on Apple Podcast or Spotify.
We love listener feedback. If you'd like to share your story, email us at melissaandalli@gmail.com. That's Melissa, MELISA, and Alli, ALLI, @gmail.com. Or follow us on Instagram at Lesbian Chronicles.